Welcome to our deep dive into film and television. We're looking at everything from March 8th and 9th, 2025. We've got industry news, some festival buzz, a few executive moves, and some of those juicy casting rumors we all love. You ready?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, so first up, Lionsgate Television. They're laying off staff in their scripted division.
Yeah, it is a bit of a bummer, but it really speaks to this larger trend we're seeing, right? Traditional studios are facing this whole new playing field. I mean, think streaming, mergers, and just how we consume content now. It's a challenge for sure. And, Lionsgate also is dealing with the separation from Starz, their acquisition of eOne.
So they're trying to stay agile in this crazy landscape.
Exactly, repositioning themselves.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, for some good news. Neon, the studio behind Anora, just snagged their second Best Picture Oscar in 5 years.
It's incredible, especially for a studio known for its indie films, right? And what's so interesting is how they did it. They didn't follow that typical Hollywood playbook, big marketing ads everywhere.
Right.
Instead, they focused on connecting the film with audiences, building a community around it, like pop-up shops with merchandise, targeted screenings for specific communities, keeping it grassroots.
So building genuine enthusiasm, not just bombarding everyone with ads.
Precisely. And it seems to be working. It makes you wonder, could this be a sign of things to come?
Yeah, could this be like a shift towards more authentic marketing, more community-driven stuff in Hollywood? That'd be pretty cool.
It would. It would challenge the status quo for sure.
Okay, so on to the stories themselves. We have some new series coming from some big names. Amy Sherman-Palladino, she created Gilmore Girls. The marvelous Mrs. Maisel is back with this new ballet drama called Étoile. It's set in New York and Paris, so visually stunning for sure.
And with her signature style, fast-paced dialogue, the witty banter, quirky characters, I'm sure it'll be a hit. Plus, they seem to love incorporating dance into their work. Bunheads, remember. It'll be interesting to see how they tackle ballet this time.
Oh yeah, on my watch list for sure. And another director with a new project, Bong Joon-ho, the mastermind behind Parasite, is back with a sci-fi satire called Mickey 17. It stars Robert Pattinson.
Oh, and even with all of his success, Bong Joon-ho admitted to feeling like a total, nerdy film geek before the premiere. He was nervous. I think it's refreshing to see that even these acclaimed directors get nervous, right? It shows that real passion.
Totally. Now, let's switch gears and talk documentaries. This is where it gets really interesting. Michael Bay, him, Transformers, all those explosive action films, is directing a documentary about parkour. It's called We Are Storer.
Might seem like an odd pairing at first, but think about it. Parkour itself is visually stunning, full of action, right up his alley.
It's true. But here's the thing. He also said no one can greenlight anything anymore in Hollywood.
Yes. That quote, it really stuck with me too. Makes you think, is this move to documentaries partly driven by wanting more creative freedom? Maybe documentaries offer a way to tell stories outside of that traditional studio system?
You're right. It's like exploring a new avenue.
Exactly. Very interesting to see how his style translates.
And Errol Morris, known for his investigative documentaries, is taking on the Manson family. The film is called Chaos: The Manson Murders.
Ugh, the Manson family. Decades later, they still fascinate and horrify people. It speaks to our desire to understand the dark side of human nature, don't you think? And Errol Morris, with his meticulous style, I'm sure he'll uncover new insights.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always drawn to documentaries that explore those complex parts of history, the unsettling stuff.
Me too, me too. And speaking of blurring those lines between fiction and reality, have you noticed how the White Lotus has become a huge, a tourism phenomenon?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone is posting about visiting those locations.
It's amazing how a TV show can impact our travel choices, right? It's called set jetting. People specifically traveling to places they've seen on screen.
That reminds me of a trip I took a few years ago. It was totally inspired by this movie I loved.
See, it's a real thing. But it does raise some questions. What about the impact on these locations, all the tourism? How do we balance the economic benefits with the potential downsides?
That's a good point. It's not always glamorous. Real-world consequences.
Exactly. And speaking of consequences, let's talk about how technology is shaping entertainment. Amazon Prime is experimenting with AI-translated closed captioning. Could be huge for accessibility.
Oh yeah, that's a game changer, especially for international content. But what about the quality? Can AI really capture all those nuances of language?
That's the big question, isn't it? AI is powerful, but we still need humans, right? To make sure it's accurate, to convey those subtle meanings.
So it's more like a collaboration. Human and machine.
Exactly. AI does the heavy lifting, but it's humans that add that special something.
And speaking of AI, this is interesting. Bollywood actor Ajay Devgan just launched Prismix. It's an AI platform, and it aims to streamline film production in India.
It's pretty groundbreaking. Makes you wonder, could this be a sign of what's coming to Hollywood?
Right, the possibilities. AI could change everything from pre-production to post-production.
Of course there are concerns. Some people worry about jobs, and that AI might make storytelling too similar, too homogenized.
It's true. It's important to consider the downsides, not just the benefits.
Absolutely. It's complex, no easy answers, but it's definitely a conversation worth having.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. And speaking of AI and how it could impact things, I think it's worth circling back to that set jetting thing. We talked about it
A
earlier.
good point. That's a good transition because, yeah, could AI be used to create those virtual set jetting experiences? Like, imagine stepping into your favorite show, your favorite movie, all from home.
That's a really interesting idea. It would definitely make things more accessible, right? And it would address some of those concerns about too much tourism.
Exactly. But for now, let's stick with those real-world sets and let's talk exciting projects. Something for everyone. Historical dramas, fantasy adaptations.
Oh, yeah. One that caught my eye, Michael Hurst. He created Vikings. He's teaming up with Amazon for a series about Eric Bloodaxe. He's great at bringing history to life.
He is. Vikings was so good. And I'm sure Eric Bloodaxe's story, it'll be full of political intrigue, epic battles, all that Viking swagger.
Sounds like a must-watch. And then on the fantasy side, we have Children of Blood and Bone, based on Tomi Adeyemi's book, that one. The casting is looking amazing, and I really can't wait to see how they bring that world to life. So vibrant.
Oh yeah, me too. It's a story that really connects with people, all ages. I think it has the potential to be huge, like a cultural phenomenon.
I agree. And it's got a powerful message, fighting for justice, equality, things that are so relevant right now. And then for heist movie fans, a new remake of The Thomas Crown Affair is in the works with Michael B. Jordan and Taylor Russell.
Cool, the classic. I love the original. With Jordan and Russell, yeah, this new version has to be a hit. Proof that some stories are just timeless.
Absolutely. Speaking of timeless, Disney Plus is developing a new series. Get this. Featuring Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, one of Walt Disney's very first creations.
Oh, wow. I remember Oswald. I love that they're bringing back these classic characters, right? It's a great way to introduce them to a new generation, but also appeal to those of us who, grew up with them.
Exactly. It speaks to the lasting power of animation, and that we need to preserve these stories. And let's not forget about documentaries. National Geographic is doing a series about the Oklahoma City bombing. It's going to be powerful, a moving account of what happened.
Oh, it's a subject that deserves a lot of thoughtful exploration for sure. And Rock Cut is developing a series called Queens of Combat, all about, get this, female gladiators in ancient Rome.
I am always fascinated by stories that kind of turn our assumptions about the past upside down. This series, it'll shed light on these women who are often overlooked, marginalized by history. A reminder that there are always more stories to tell, and history is, well, it's more complex than we think.
Yes, you said it. Now, shifting gears a little, have you noticed how television is trending towards more, like, ongoing series, not limited ones? Seems like networks and streamers are realizing that people really want those long narratives.
That's true. It's true. And it allows for, deeper character development, more intricate plots. Audiences really get invested. Plus, it creates this sense of community. Everyone discussing theories online, dissecting every episode.
Yeah, it's like we're all part of the story. And speaking of stories that bring people together, there's this new documentary in the works called Beautiful Resistance. It's led by Quanah Chasinghorse. She's a model and activist. She's using her platform to raise awareness about indigenous justice, climate change.
What's so exciting with this one is the collaboration. She's working with filmmaker Fernando Morales. And get this, RZA from Wu-Tang Clan is doing the score. What a team.
I know, right? It shows how artists from different backgrounds can come together and create something really special, impactful. Okay, let's take a peek behind the scenes, so to speak, and talk executive moves. Matt Veitens, he was at Matchbox Pictures, is now leading Northern Pictures.
Oh, those kinds of shifts can really shake things up creatively. It'll be interesting to see what he does with Northern Pictures, what direction they go in. And then Adam Van Dusen, a veteran TV literary agent, has joined Paradigm.
Paradigm has been expanding their literary team, which makes me think, are they making a big push into television? It's like watching this chess game, all these power players making moves.
It really is. Okay, festivals and markets. The Thessaloniki Documentary Festival, they're focusing on the power of documentaries to preserve truth, in this world where democracy and freedom are more and more under threat.
That's so important. Documentaries, they can really hold those in power accountable, and they give a voice to the voiceless.
Exactly. And then there's the cartoon movie event in Bordeaux. They're showcasing European animation, how vibrant it is.
I love that animation is getting that recognition. It's such a versatile way to tell stories. I'm always excited to see new, innovative approaches.
Me too. Me too. And of course, SXW, always a place for exciting new films and TV shows, premieres from studios like Amazon MGM, A24.
SXSW always feels cutting edge, you know, pushing boundaries, introducing fresh voices.
It does. And then at the Series Mania Forum, Isabel DeGeorge, she's the president of Gaumont Television, was honored with the Women in Series Award.
That's fantastic. So well-deserved. I mean, she's been so important in bringing international productions like Lupin to a global audience.
It's inspiring to see women like her succeeding, breaking those barriers in what's traditionally been, well, a male-dominated industry. Speaking of breaking barriers, let's go back to Ajay Devgan, that Bollywood actor. His Prismix launch, that AI platform, it's designed to transform how content is created in India. It's a bold move, could have a huge impact globally. I think we're just starting to understand what AI can do for filmmaking.
Now, not all news is good news. CBS has canceled, for the third time, the action drama, SWAT. It ran for 8 seasons.
Yeah, it reminds us that even the shows that run a long time, they're not safe from how unpredictable this industry is.
And The Summer I Turned Pretty, based on those Jenny Han books, is ending after season 3. It's always hard to say goodbye to a show you love.
I know, but it's also nice when a story gets a proper ending. On a happier note, some interesting deals. Grasshopper Film acquired the North American distribution rights to Afternoons of Solitude. It's a documentary by Albert Serra, and it explores bullfighting.
It's controversial, that's for sure. But I'm always interested in documentaries that tackle those difficult, complex topics.
Me too, me too. It's a chance to see the world differently, to start those important conversations. And then Zeitgeist Films and Kino Lorber, they've joined forces, and they've acquired the North American rights to A Photographic Memory, a documentary about a pioneering female photojournalist.
Oh, I love that they're highlighting her story. It's important that we celebrate women who, paved the way. And filmmaker Robert Rodriguez, he's launched a new production banner, Brass Knuckle Films. They're going to focus on high-impact action.
Oh, I can't wait to see what he comes up with. He's so good at that genre. We're definitely in for some exciting action sequences. And speaking of masters, Lee Daniels, he signed a first-look deal with 20th Television.
That's a big one. He's such a visionary. I'm really eager to see what he creates with this new partnership. It's so exciting to see these established creators still pushing boundaries, finding new ways to tell stories.
It is. And on that note, I think the Vimeo short film grant is worth mentioning, presented by Nikon and RA Digital Cinema. It's a great opportunity for new filmmakers. They get recognition, funding, and mentoring from pros.
That's so important. Nurturing that next generation. The future of film is in good hands. All these talented storytellers waiting to be discovered.
I couldn't agree more. And with that, I think we've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive. New projects, industry moves, festivals, groundbreaking deals. A lot is happening in film and television.
Wow, we covered a lot, huh? It feels like the entertainment industry is just like a whirlwind of activity right now.
It really is. It really is. It makes you realize how much is going on, how dynamic and ever-changing this whole world is.
Yeah, totally. So as we wrap up, anything that stood out to you from all of this?
What strikes me is just the sheer variety of stories, and all the ways they're being told. We talk about big blockbusters, small indie films, historical epics, those thought-provoking docs, and it feels like the lines between those genres are getting blurrier and blurrier.
I see that too. Like filmmakers are really experimenting, trying new things, pushing those boundaries.
Exactly. And it's not just about the stories themselves, but also who's telling them. We're seeing more diversity, both in front of and behind the camera. New voices, different perspectives coming from all over the world.
Yeah, that's what makes it so exciting, right? It feels like such a fertile time for creativity. So many unique voices finally getting a chance to share their stories.
It is. It is. And that diversity, it enriches everything, It challenges us, makes us think, expands how we see the world, and it makes space for stories that maybe wouldn't have been told before.
It's a good reminder that everyone has a story, right? And all those stories deserve to be heard. And it seems like now, with streaming and all these independent production companies, there are more opportunities than ever for those stories to find an audience.
Absolutely. And, This shift, it also changes who has the power in the industry. Those traditional gatekeepers are losing their grip a bit, and that opens things up for those new voices, those fresh perspectives.
Makes you wonder what the future holds.
Right. So much content out there. It's an exciting time to be watching, but it also makes you think, how do we make sure quality rises to the top? How do we support the creators who are taking risks, the ones pushing those boundaries?
It's a challenge for sure, but it's also an opportunity, right, for us as viewers to be more careful about what we choose, to seek out those diverse voices, to really support the stories that speak to us.
Exactly, exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'll leave you with this. What kind of stories do you hope to see in the future? What stories do you think need to be told?
That's a great question. It's been so interesting exploring all of this with you, the latest in film and TV, from industry shakeups and new tech to all these captivating projects and those global voices emerging. The entertainment landscape is always changing. It's a whirlwind and, well, it's exciting to be a part of it.